Leah Richeimer, can we save this marriage? For those of you who've been going on through part 1 and part 2 and loving Suzy, we all raise your hand, give us likes. You love Suzy, we all love Suzy. She's been fantastic. She's been working hard, been really, really special, and she's grown a lot, and we've grown a lot, and we've learned a lot from Suzy, and just going in deep. It's awesome. So stay tuned. The show's going to be great. We're going to all learn a lot about what it takes to save this marriage. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk to Suzy. We're going to do some of the homework that we had from last week, but we're also going to we want to go a little bit deeper. Here's the situation, and we're all very sad about this, is that Suzy had a medical thing come up that she has to go take care of. And we all know since last week's show where we all talked about how you have to take care of yourself, right? Last week was self-care, right? Hello, guys? Yeah, we're there. So it's all about self-care. She's got to take care of herself first. So we're going to have this show to sort of bring it all to head, see where she's come, where she's going, give her homework for the next few months while she's taking care of herself, taking care of her health, and then she will circle back. But today we're going to go in a little bit deep and sort of see what we can accomplish in the amount of time we have, keeping in mind her number one priority is to take care of her health. So Suzy, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay. So everybody's on, we got a lot of emails saying, how's Suzy doing? Have you talked to her? Do you know what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So we'd love to hear, give us a little bit of an update.
Let's see. Well, in trying to fill my appreciation basket,
but we'll let it go.
Used a bucket.
Okay.
I tried a few of the techniques, and I can elaborate at that when you think it's the right time.
Okay.
And I'm seeing some promising response.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I want to get to those, to what you said, the specifics, because I think that's what everybody wants to hear, how you did it and how you got over the emotional drama to be able to do it. So that, I think we all want to hear that. But I want to preface it and find out how you, for this next time frame while you're, going through your medical stuff, do you think you're going to be able to continue some of these things? Or are you just going to be, your brain is just going to take care of me and off the chart, off the grid?
I think I'll have to schedule a few hours into the week, probably a 2-hour spot on Tuesdays or something. And then I should be able to do it.
You mean 2 hours to sort of manage your relationship with your husband? It's okay. I'm just saying. That's what you're thinking? I mean, it's better than zero. There's better than zero.
This is pretty serious stuff I'm dealing with.
Okay, so. Yeah. Okay, fine. It might be easier rather than 2 hours, which might be onerous and gotta do that. It might be better 15 minutes a day. Well, anyways, we'll discuss that after. Okay, let's hear some scoop. What did you do and how did you do it and what were the results?
Okay, so typically when my husband will make a suggestion, I do not even think about it. I know I'm so bad. So, because I think my suggestions are much better, plus often he'll make a suggestion on something that I've already totally planned out. So,
is this so typical? Suzy, you just have to know, everyone here is going oh my God, that's so true, right on. It's exactly right. Okay, so good, we're listening. You got our attention. Go ahead.
Also to go, someone analyze myself, it's also, I'm thinking when I have said, oh, this is what I'm thinking of doing for Purim, or this is what I'm thinking doing for Hanukkah. Then when he makes a suggestion, I'm thinking, and I know this is really insecure, but I'm thinking, what does he think? That my plan isn't good? That it needs improvement? So that's probably why I shoot it down. Anyways, enough of the negative talk about myself. I didn't shoot it down. Woo-hoo!
She said, woo-hoo! she said she didn't shoot it down. So that's awesome. And yeah, it has to do, ladies, can you see this? This has to do with expectation. This is so awesome. Like he's giving his input perhaps from the most, not because he thinks he's right, not because he thinks he's better, not because he thinks he's smarter, but because he takes it as a sign of engagement. Like she says, here's what I was thinking for Hanukkah, and he's like, oh, well, how about this? How about that? Like he, if he just like, oh, that's nice, dear, and walked away, you'd be like, he doesn't care about me at all. He doesn't love me. He could care less what I do, whatever. His sharing his thoughts, you could hear it totally one of two ways. One is he's trying to upmanship you, or trying to be smarter than you or outsmart you or whatever. And the other way is he's trying to get closer to you. And I bet you a gazillion dollars that it's the latter, that he really.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you breathing about?
So.
What are you breathing about? That it's just misinterpretation of where he's coming from.
What's wrong with me?
No, it's a human thing. It's don't go there. It's a human thing that we're defensive. And frankly, you've told me a little bit about your childhood and what you grew up with, and the parents. Not your, I don't want to blame your parents. Gosh, well, I guess nobody knows who they are, but you know who they are. I don't want to badmouth anybody, but I'm saying we grow up with whatever baggage and stuff we have, and we didn't know. And maybe in our family of origin, the parents like, no, don't do that. Yeah, and always belittled us with everything we did. So we'd come up with something, we'd feel a little bit self-conscious about it, and they'd shoot it down. They'd tell us they're right, that we're wrong. They'd prove to us how stupid we are. Been there, done that. We all have. But the issue is that's how you ended up just knee-jerk reaction to your husband's kindness of wanting to participate in what you're doing. And don't beat yourself up about it, but it's actually a beautiful sign. He wants to be closer to you, and he wants to engage with you. Now, you have a habit, you've been married 25 years. What do we make up? I forget what we pretended it was. I can't remember.
20.
Whatever we made up from the prior things that she was married, over 20 years, is that, and for those of you who are watching for the first time, we disguise the person. Suzy's not her real name, the number of kids she has, and then all the details are changed so that she can remain anonymous. So, but anyway, you have a 20-year track record of anytime he's made a suggestion of being defensive, except for now, you turned the ship. You know how hard it is to turn a 20-year a ship that's been going this way for so long, and you went that way. So I mean, my mind is blown by how proud I am of you. But the issue is that it's that habit, that knee-jerk habit or whatever, that's going to happen again and again and again. It's going to be work for a while until it changes. So I don't want you to feel badly that if he does this again, you're going to say, no, forget it. So now, here's what I want to tell everybody who's listening. This is a crucial, vital point that we need to understand about our marriages, which is the fact that we have a love-hate relationship with micromanagement. So our husband, at one point, he'll say, "Oh, did you remember to take the, shoes to the cobbler? Did you did you bring the shoes in? Whatever." And you're like, "Yes, I did. Don't tell me what to do. It's so annoying when you might try and micromanage me." And so he's like, "Ooh, now he's burned. Now he's got singed. There's smoking from his, right?" Then the next time he says, you're getting in the car and you're about to shut the door, and he said, "Did you remember to bring your driver's license?" And you're like, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much. We would have driven all the way to whatever to pick up the whatever to get the tickets, and I didn't have my driver's license. I can't believe it. I'm so grateful to you." So he's now like, do I micromanage? Don't I micromanage? Like you can't win here. Like, you're a hot potato. He doesn't know what to do. Like, he wants to be there for you. He wants to help you. He wants to be supportive. But half the time, 50% of the time, he gets stung for doing it. And 50% of the time, he gets praised for doing it. Now, it's probably the shoes on the other foot just as well. Half the time you remind him, oh, didn't you want to call your mother when you got home from after dinner? And he'll be like, oh, thanks so much for reminding me. Oh, yeah, wow. And sometimes he'll say, is it, I'll call her if I darn well feel like it. So this is a big problem from both directions, and we have to understand there has to be there's one thing that can cure this. One thing, maybe other things too, but one thing, the 99% of this can be cured by one thing. Do you know what it is? Humor. Humor. So what you do is you say, I know you remember everything and I know you're a genius, but did you remember your driver's license? Or you say, I know you love when I micromanage you and when I tell you every little detail of what you did. Did you bring the shoes to the cobbler? Right? And so the humor, doing something, you've got to, look, everybody, I might be more corny than you. You might have a better sense. You might be able to really think of a good joke. And actually, we have got a good joke writer on. Yeah, that was a great joke what he said last time. I'm still working on, but anyway. So the thing is, we have to figure out what is going to work with our husband. But this whole thing of being mad and glad indiscriminately does not work. Does not. We should do a marriage minute about that. It's such an important factor. Okay.
Yeah, Aliza Sugarman actually says, "So true. I never thought about it like that."
Yeah, it's true, and we're mad and glad, and they have no idea what to expect. Oh, you're kicking the hoozy magoozy. It's like we did not have an earthquake.
You're on a roller coaster ride.
There we
as
go.
I'm moving.
So,
Chava Esther Silver, by the way, Suzy said, "So nice to have Suzy back." So she loves, she's been definitely waiting the whole month for you to come back and use what you have. One of our amazing Instagram followers who comments on all our stuff.
Thank you.
So keep commenting.
We love it. Thank you.
You're
We
amazing.
appreciate it.
Said Suzy, I'm always anxious to find out if it's getting better. You're in my thoughts. You're in my prayers.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So know that you have a lot of people out there that are
So,
supporting
Suzy,
you.
is it getting better?
It is very minimally. I mean, slowly by slowly, because he probably can't believe that this is me.
What do you mean?
Like when he suggested something about Purim, instead of saying, no, we have plans to go to the Smiths or whatever, like usual, I said, oh, okay, that's something we could do. That'd be different. I just accepted and contemplated his idea. And I think he was kind of shocked.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's awesome. So I want to finish up about the micromanage. So the answer to that is humor. I just wanted to make sure people. So for you, Suzy, in these kind of situations, what you have done, which is so awesome, is you have a habit. Do you know how hard habits are to break? We all know this. It's oh my gosh, it's so hard. You had a habit that was not working. It was making your husband feel belittled. It was making you feel like, why are you, why are you taking control of the whole situation? Like whatever we talked about. And so your ability to shift that hopefully gives everybody who's listening this strength to shift things in their own marriage that aren't working. So I have a question I want to ask you, Suzy. It's a little bit deep and it's a little bit difficult, and I know you said last time after last week's show, she said I was exhausted. It's like last month, whatever. Okay, thank you, whatever. Last show we had, that it was just whatever. So but
I wasn't complaining.
Yeah, I know.
I signed up for this.
You're so sweet.
And
You're so
I welcome
awesome.
it.
You're awesome. She said, I welcome it. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's awesome, and that willingness to grow is really the seeds to why your marriage is improving. And you really, my hat's off to you. But I want to go in a little bit deep now. And so I asked her beforehand, I said, I had some pretty heavy questions for you this time. Is that okay? And she goes, okay, Leah, I'm ready. So the question I have for you, and I think this would be really helpful for people to hear, if you could examine what things were you doing, or have you been doing, or have you done in your marriage that actually sabotaged it to get to the point that it's at, that you are going to not continue in the marriage? What had you been doing?
But all I can really think about is maybe in the midst of an argument, it's kind of like just keep on going. Like, I mean, marriage counselors told us, obviously, don't argue in front of kids. And he would remind me, we're not supposed to argue, not here, but I would keep going. I just kept going, and I didn't control myself.
You didn't control yourself, or you felt like you couldn't control yourself?
Yeah, I felt like I couldn't.
Why?
I guess the adrenaline was just going, and in my mind, I thought that it was more important to keep making my point.
So,
I mean, this is years ago.
have you been able to do it since? Have you been able to shift that?
Well, yeah, in the past few years, since I started having health issues, I just decided it's not worth making myself more sick. And also, as my kids have gotten older, I've seen how it's affected them. So,
Interesting.
I saw the effects and how it wasn't working
So
for me to continue an
yeah,
argument.
I hear that. It's good. It's good. That's good. That's all growth. It's all good. It's all growth. But that wasn't enough to make the marriage sweet, which is what our objective is here. Our objective
No,
here.
because we have so many years of this negative patterns that whenever I suggest to him to go see a counselor, he shoots it down.
Because
He
why?
says no. He says, last time, remember, she told you to do A, B, and C, and you went home and you did the opposite. He put it straight on me, and good for me, I didn't argue with him at that. I disagreed in my mind, but I didn't argue.
Yeah, but was what he's saying accurate, or it wasn't accurate about that?
Well, she just answered that some of it was accurate.
Some, okay, some, maybe some, but I think
and then
stop,
she
and
did.
she couldn't do
Right.
it. So to
yeah,
him,
that's
for
what
a
I was
man,
getting confused.
he only needs one time to say, okay, she's not listening anyways. So
Right, what's the
they
point?
don't see all the little
So
things.
I'll tell you one of the things that I was, and I guess this might be hard to see or whatever. One of the things that I found in all of our conversations is, I don't want to say blame your husband, but there's an issue of wanting to prove that he's bad and wrong. And I'm not saying everything he did is wonderful or whatever. I don't know the man, okay? But I do know that there are certain things, I had a woman and she kept saying, my husband just goes off, he leaves an argument. And it will be in the middle of a discussion, and he'll just get up and walk away and leave the room. And he doesn't care enough. He doesn't love me enough. He doesn't whatever. And so when you hear that, you're like, oh, she's right. Gosh, that's terrible. This guy, someone needs to talk to him and get him fixed up and whatever. So then I began questioning her, and I said, what do you mean he leaves? How long into the argument does he walk out? When you start the argument, he says, no. Usually it's, we're going and arguing, we're getting nowhere. And he says, listen, I think I need some time out to just mull this over in my head. And I said, and then what? And he said, and then he comes, then I'll tell him, no leaving. No, don't leave an argument in the middle. We need to get this saddled out. And he said, well, I need time and space to get the dog out of the house.
I
need time. He has also wants his opinion. That's it, right. So I need time. He said, I need time to. My husband will say he needs time to think about it. What is there to think about? And so I'll push him and push him and push him and say, no, we need to settle this here and now. And he'll just get up, really ticked off, and leave the room. So now, at the beginning, you're like, this lady is, this poor lady, she's married to this guy who isn't engaged and doesn't want to communicate and doesn't want to share his feelings. And after you hear this, you're like, excuse me, she's like not giving him space he needs to process. He might be a slow processor. She's not giving him, room to, to communicate in a way that's best for him. It's got to be her way or the highway. And now all she does is blame him for the way the communication is and say he's not engaged in the marriage. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying anybody's right or anybody's wrong, but what I'm saying is our seeing it totally skewed from one side actually prevents us from seeing reality, from appreciating who that man is sitting across from us, and being able to work through the differences. So a lot of the conversations I've had with you, look, it's a little hard for me because I adore you and I think you're just a yummy person. And, so I want to believe you when you say my husband's like this and my husband's like that and then he did this and whatever. And there's two problems with it. One problem is it gives us nothing to work out. It makes you a victim and makes you have no tools to move forward. That's the first problem. And the second problem, it does you no favors because you end up not working on yourself or not doing the introspection necessary that you did, like what this big triumph you had this week where he made a suggestion for where you're going to go to dinner and you said, okay, yeah, let's try that or whatever, understanding that he's making a suggestion because he wants to be closer to you, not because he's trying to put you down. Those are great strides in growth. But what is going to prevent you from growing any further is your myopic viewpoint. How do you say myopic? Mm-hmm. What's it?
No, that's good. Narrow and small.
Vocab word. It means short-sighted.
Short-sighted.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Small.
small.
Yeah.
You're seeing him like this, and that's how he is, and that's how he's always been, and whatever. And you're not giving him the space to grow into the man who can take care of you better. I'm going to say that again. You're not giving him the space he needs to be able to take care of you better. So what I'm asking of you, Suzy, is, and I think this is going to be one part of your homework, is to buy yourself a cute little notebook. I'm always into getting cute notebooks because I love to doodle and draw and whatever, right? Where's my pink pen? You stole my pink pen. Yeah.
I did not. Oh, wait. I just going on the record that Leah gave me the pink pen when she wanted me to write something.
Okay.
By the way, she loves it. This is like the husband and wife thing, me and Leah. Leah's the husband right now, and I'm like, no, honey. I did not steal your pen.
You did steal my pen. Okay, so because she said this doesn't match our decor, does it? Right,
no,
I'm going to have this
pink,
one. Okay,
definitely.
fine.
Give me the blue one.
Okay, you can have the blue one. There you go. Okay,
I'm
so
behind
fine.
the scenes.
There we
I
go.
can have
So
the blue.
I have no idea what we were just talking about before we did.
They get her a pretty notebook.
Yes, get yourself a pretty notebook. And you need to start figuring out what your husband's doing right. So you need to start writing it down. You need a journal things that your husband does right. And I think that's going to bolster you. It's going to build you into a person who realizes, that part of the problem of when you're putting your husband down and feeling like, oh, he's less than and he doesn't do this right and doesn't do that right, it also makes you doubt yourself because you're like, I chose him. What kind of an idiot am I? Right? Whereas if you start, if you start writing down, what does he do right? What things do I appreciate about him? If you start writing that down, it'll really strengthen your own love for him. You're going to be developing that love. A lot of people, there's a Rav Dessler he gives over that a lot of people see. They see that when somebody loves somebody, right? Anecdotal evidence. They see, they're married. He loves her, so he's doing all these nice things for her. She's doing all these nice things for him. Rav Dessler says, no, you've got it backwards. Love follows the pattern of giving. love follows the direction of giving, is I believe how he says it. Love follows the direction of giving. So no, it's not that the person loves the person and so they gave to them. It's that they gave to them and then they loved them. You hear? So your job is to begin giving more and more to your husband, giving him compliments, giving him things if he likes things, doing things for him, giving as much as you can to your husband. That'll help you to love him more. Because when you start to ignite that love inside of you that's been there for 20 years, that's blocked, like last week you said, or last time you said, you don't even know if you like him, let alone love him. But if you do for him and you give to him, it will hopefully develop that love more that you used to have and even grow more. What everybody who's watching this show needs to understand is that whatever joy, people think, oh, well, think back on when you first dated, that love that was there, and whatever, that'll help bring you your passion back and your love back. And they've got it so wrong. That was like one tiny, tiny fraction of what is available to us. Because when your husband goes through a pregnancy with you, or an illness, or you get fired from a job or whatever, and your husband's there for you and supporting you, that there's the love that's available going through tough times together and happy times and spending time and being there, love and supporting each other. The love that's available from there is about 10,000 times more than the infatuation when you didn't even know the guy, you hadn't even lived with him yet, or you hadn't even, been under the same roof or gone through anything together. You just dated. Well, we had a tough time. We went to the restaurant and the food came out cold. No, you're going through real stuff when you're married. Once that stuff begins, the amount of pleasure and bliss and happiness and closeness and support that's available is about 10 times, 1,000 times more that's available. So right now, you have a whole history with this guy, and people think, oh, well, people are better off with a clean slate where they have no history. They're wrong about that. Having all of the history that you have, the good, the bad, the ugly, the things you're having a hard time forgiving him for, you're enmeshed. And when you're enmeshed, right, that's a solid foundation on which to build some happy times, some joy, some going through, some deep discussions. You can't, when you're first married, you think you're having deep discussions, but it's usually about I want this and I demand that and you haven't done this for me and why'd you say it like that and why'd you act like that and why'd you do this, and it's usually accusations flinging back and forth. It's not the deep communication that you can have after 20 years where you can say, remember about 5 years ago I was thinking that I wanted to put more time into such and such a thing and I wanted to whatever, what do you think? I'm thinking about making this shift in my life. Or it doesn't even have to be that heavy. You can look at each other and smile and know what each other is thinking. So there's a depth of joy and happiness that's available to you now, Suzy, and to everybody who's watching that is 1,000 times better. The whole secular media, social, the media, everybody talks about how that initial infatuation and how wonderful that is. It actually really isn't, because you don't know if you have them yet. There's that fear, like, I'm not going to say I love you because what if he doesn't say I love you back? And, whatever, right now you're in a level of commitment and a level of history together that you can build a lot more. Again, there's forgiveness that needs to happen. There's not making each other wrong. There's getting a notebook and writing down all the things that they're doing right and appreciating them, and that's available to you. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. Did you have any questions on that?
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Did you hear anything I said, Suzy?
Yes, I said everything. I took notes.
Yeah,
you
you
were
took
on
notes?
speaker.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Okay, I feel vindicated. I thought, like, hello, oh, she's off kicking the dog out of the house or whatever else.
Yeah.
No.
I'm
Okay,
not.
so there, that's good. So sweet. So anyway, so did you have any questions on that before I move to the next question?
No.
No.
Give
Okay,
him
good.
the space to take care of me, get a pretty notebook and write down whatever he's doing right.
That's good.
Give him compliments, because giving causes and improves my love for
That's
him.
good. Yeah, that's right. And, one thing that we always forget is that God gave us this guy. He gave this guy, not this guy. He also gave us this guy, but he gave us this guy. He gave us one, to take care of him, to love him. Like, he was a gift. And, the good, the bad, and the ugly, whatever he was done, he was given to us. We were told from our sages that he was given to us to perfect our, to each of us to reach our perfection in this world, to be, if we were born a certain amount of, everything annoyed us, by the time we die, hopefully less will annoy us. If we were born with certain traits where, we have, we want to steal, to grow that so we don't steal so much, whatever character traits. I'm using really dumb examples today, but, whatever level we were born with, and we all were born with certain traits. You can have two kids and you just can't believe they came from the same family. We all have our stuff that we're born with, and our job in our life over the course of our lifetime is to improve those things that we're weak at and to strengthen those things we're strong at. That's it. Standing on one foot, that's what we're here for. And our spouse was given to us and designed for us exactly, by God, exactly to help us to achieve that to the ultimate maximal amount. So God gave you this guy, and you might be annoyed with him and think, oh, I made a mistake, and everybody else is getting divorced, and what's the big deal, and I'll find someone better, and this and that. You can really make yourself crazy in these things, and we have a lot of, I wanted to write a class called Is Divorce Grass Greener? Right? Yeah, isn't that a good class? But I'll tell you, I started research on it and started interviewing women who have been divorced to see, is the grass greener over there, or whatever. And the problem is, God is very kind to us. Once we do something and make a decision, it's like we say, oh, yes, it's the right decision. Like you buy a car, like before you buy a car, should I, shouldn't I, whatever. Then you buy that car, and now you're like, oh, I got the best deal and the best car. And, it's called cognitive dissonance. And there's the same thing when someone gets divorced. I only found 3 women who would go on camera and say, yes, I made the biggest mistake of my life. All the other people who I talked with were full of justifications and, what do you call it? Conviction of why that they got married or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a gift from God. I think they're lying to themselves. I think it's easy to lie to yourself, just like we do it as women. Whenever we fight with our husband, it's easier for us to say he was wrong. How could he do that? Da da da. When really we know we are very much to blame. And we're very much a part of it. But it's much easier to throw the blame to someone else. So they're not going to tell you that they're miserable, even though they're miserable.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a defense, because to those 3 women living with that reality that they made the biggest mistake of their life, that's a crazy heavy burden. I don't know how many women would want to face that.
Correct.
One woman who said it was the biggest mistake of her life, and this is look, I'm not into abuse. You got abuse. Get out and get out fast. If you need help, we'll figure out how. I don't even know how, but we'll whatever. So get out if there's abuse going on. But for, there's serious issues. You can have really, really serious issues in your marriage and still it can work. But the divorce grass,
one of those women that actually said it to you was actually remarried and still said, I made a mistake. I should have, because she saw she had the same problems follow her from one to the other, and now she just had to deal with what she had to deal with, the saddest thing there, she said she is about 10% happier in her marriage now than she was then, but she lost 3 of her children. I mean, not to death, but her kids are gone. Gone. So the kikids are gone. Yeah. She said they were all teenagers. One was just about to be a teenager. I can't connect with them. I can't whatever. There's a war going between the whatever. She said, I don't know what's going to be. I don't. I mean, she's praying and crying and whatever. And she cried on the phone with me about her regret of the thing, even though it is, she's, as she said, 10% better. But she said the things that I didn't deal with in my first marriage, she said, I'm very controlling, and I just controlled my husband out the house, and so we divorced. Now I'm doing the same thing with this guy. He's just softer. Correct. Exactly. He's able, right. Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be divorce. We know halachically, Jewish law, there is such a thing as divorce. But today, it's so easily accessed, and people don't stick it out. And I asked this. I actually just met with a big Rebbitzin, and I asked, "Could I say it in your name?" And she said, "Better not." I'm like, But what she said is, she said today, she said, the women are they just throw it away like a disposable thing, and they don't work on it. But anyway, I'm not here to preach about this. The main thing that we can have control over is if we are getting divorced because we're not taking the time to figure out what to appreciate about our husband. We're not figuring out what he's doing right. We're only looking at him wrong, and we're caught up in a whole thing. The basic rule of thumb is, for people who want to know where they're holding on this, is if you have not been, you only should be thinking about divorce after 1 year of very serious therapy together. If your husband won't go yourself. They'll help you to figure out how to get your husband to therapy. A lot of times women give their husband an ultimatum, come, or the marriage is over, or whatever. I don't know if these things work. I'm not an expert in that. But I do know that it's much better if you bring them in by saying, I love you and I want to make this work, but I don't know if we can do it ourselves. We don't have a good track record of communicating well, where we've got too many issues. And then when you get into therapy, you have to go to sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 different therapists that you both have chemistry with, that you both feel a trust in. And some therapists are good, and just like every profession, you have good dentists, bad dentists, you want to go to the good one. So you have good therapists, you have bad therapists, and therapists who's sitting there and you find you're just screaming at each other for an hour, for week after week, month after month, that you realize maybe we need somebody else where we feel like we're making some progress. I also think it's very important in therapy that when that you go in with very clear-cut expectations. Don't say we want to save the marriage. Say, here's what we'd like to work on. In the next 3 months, we want to be able to have better communication. We want to have better, we want to have ground rules for conversation, so we're not saying mean things to each other like that. Go in very smart. There's probably books that say how to get the most out of therapy. Buy those books, or Google it or whatever. But unless you've had a year of therapy, people should not be considering, or abuse, that people should not be considering this. They should really be doing whatever they possibly can. Get yourself an education. Buy books on marriage. There's Marriage Secrets. There's a lot of fantastic books out there that can help you. Okay, I want to go back to Suzy. Suzy, one thing, since we're not going to be meeting for quite some time while you're taking care of your health, the question I have for you is, what is one thing that you can do over this time period that you think will make the greatest positive impact on your marriage?
I would say to implement something that a marriage counselor suggested a few years ago, to do something nice for him or something that he would like every day. Wow. So whether it's write him a note or make him something or text him or call him.
So that's nice, but you got to be taking care of yourself, sweetheart. That seems like a too hard basket, especially if he does something meanwhile that annoys you. That seems too hard. I'm just thinking
maybe like if I have energy after this class now, then I'm just joking. Then I'll make a list of different things that I could do. And then each day I could take from that. And then when I concentrate on my marriage, like I said I would do, I could think of other things. So that's not good. Do you have a suggestion?
Well, I think that's really good, and it's kind of like as a what's that called? Like a
springboard.
No, that's a springboard. No, I'm thinking like that's a good background plan.
Okay.
But I'm worried that it's going to be too emotionally dramatic for you while you're going through your medical stuff.
No, but I don't know if she necessarily has to do something big. She has to do even her texting him. Yeah. Even her calling him and saying, hi, I'm sitting here and was just, want to see how you're doing. Or it could be such small little things.
Right, but what if he, what happens if she says, oh, the doctor just said this, and he says, oh, I can't talk right now.
No, she shouldn't say anything about her. That's the whole point. It's all about him. So she shouldn't call and say, hi, I want to talk. It's about, hi, I just want to say hi. Hope you're doing well.
Right, I know, but she needs support right now.
Right.
She needs to be like from her family, her kids, she needs his
but I feel
support.
like if she's tapping into him daily, even if she's not like having major
Wanting anything.
conversation or wanting anything, she'll be thinking about him daily. Like, we daven every day because we're supposed to remember that there's Hashem up there, because we could go through the whole day busy and forget. So we have to every so often stop just to say, hi, I know you're out there.
Yeah, I hear.
So I don't think I think the stress might be if she wants to make something big.
But I'm saying if let's say he's done something annoying.
No. Hopefully he won't, because she's away.
No.
Far, what they say. What do they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah. Hopefully he won't annoy her, or he'll feel bad, to like annoy her while she's dealing with heavy
together.
stuff.
It's not like she's disappeared for that long. But I'm just saying
Suzy, could you disappear for like a couple months?
No, but I'm saying that a
couple of us want to join you.
Hold on a second. He is for sure guaranteed going to do something annoying. Because he's a human being.
Right.
When you have two people under one roof, I remember at a young couple, and they came, whatever, and he said, well, she's the only one who ever told me that I'm not a good communicator and that I go off and I'm like, she's the first person you lived with, besides your family. Okay, you get along great with your, your acquaintances. Bully on you. Aren't you wonderful? When you're living under the roof with somebody is going to get annoyed, probably a day, once a day, 5 times a day, 10 times a day, depending on who you live with, and what's going on in your lives and the stress level in your life. You're about to go through a high stress thing, and he's going to annoy you. So I think that the plan of doing something sweet and lovely each day, ongoingly for months, when he's going to annoy you, and when you need to be taking care of yourself, I think it's in the too hard basket, Suzy. I admire you for wanting to take it on, and that's why I said if you make that list after we get off the phone, so that you can at least have things that when the mood strikes you, you'll have it. I think that's great. But for an ongoing thing, let's take something much, much smaller, and I'm going to throw something out, see if it sticks, is what about if when, let me think, like if you're to just give him the benefit of the doubt during tough times when he says something or does something. Maybe that's even too hard, but
that's small. That sounds humongous.
I would rather text my husband and be like, "Hi," than
right.
I don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I'm texting a bunch of emojis every day. How about you text an emoji every single day, a different one?
You mean that's easier than
yes.
No, that's why I said I think it's in the too hard basket.
It might be nice. Like sometimes when I'm going through something hard, and then to kind of get out of yourself and do something for someone else, it's kind of nice. It's really hard to do, but it's nice to for that minute to take your mind off of your own stress and your own stuff, even though it's hard.
I know, it was really funny because I had last week, I'm telling one on myself. Last week I was just, you wake up somehow. First of all, I had jet lag still, so I get that as a good excuse. But I was just in a grouchy mood and whatever. And I even told, I've at least learned a little bit. I said to my husband, I'm in a grouchy mood. Don't take it personally. Anyway, someone called with a really serious problem. And I was on the phone with them for an hour and a half solving a pretty big crisis they were having. And I got up off the phone, and I was in the kitchen. I was this and whatever. My husband was like, "You giving people advice really puts you in a good mood."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
really
because
weird.
when you're
helping,
because when you're focusing on someone else, it takes away from you're like suddenly I thought I was having a bad day. Oh wow, that's a wake up call. Whatever.
Yeah, reality
but
check.
It kind of focuses.
So let's figure out what are we going to
something
small.
Maybe she texts him every day. Could you imagine after a week or two, he'll be like, "Where's my text?" It's so easy, a little text? Because it's so simple. She's anyways in. No, also when you're sitting there, especially because your phone is with you, even when you're in the doctor's office or you're during treatments or whatever.
Right.
You could literally, your phone is always there, literally at your side. So just sending out something.
So what do you think of that, Suzy? Does that seem like that would be, even if you're annoyed at him, you could still do?
Oh, what, to text him? I'm focusing on give him the benefit of the doubt.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, we're having an argument about we're having an argument about which one is a smaller
Which one is going to be easier?
Yeah. Which one's going to be easier? Yeah, please. Go ahead.
It's much easier to text,
Yeah.
but
Much easier to text.
Hold on a sec. Wait, hold on. We have
more
one of our staff member also has a point.
advantageous
Is that
to-
microphone on here? Hold on. Wait,
I don't know if I
Yeah, go
Wait,
ahead.
wait,
Go ahead.
yeah.
No, I just wanted to say something that I thought was the most important piece of advice here, and that is, you'll be taking care of yourself. You have a medical issue, and you need to communicate with him what expectations you may have of him, and because you'll be taking care of yourself, and you may feel insulted if he doesn't, pull himself up to the plate to help you and to say nice things to you. And you may find fault with him about that.
And be very picky about whether he's supportive or whether how he's going through it.
And it's very important he has a wide open slate, and he has a grand opportunity to make himself into a wonderful husband during this time. And you have an opportunity to tell him what your needs may be, and he can fill those needs, and you can become close in that way.
I've got goosebumps on my goosebumps.
He has the ability to turn things around, as opposed to you carrying a grudge that he didn't do that during these, during
20 years.
these few months that you'll be gaining your strength.
Wow, what do you think about that, Suzy?
Well, I'm what's the word? I'm like doubtful that would happen. Like, I haven't even imagined that he might give me support or anything, because he once said to me after I got my diagnosis, what was it? For about 3 weeks ago, he said, well, Rabbi so-and-so said it could be due to Lashon Hara.
Ouch.
So, like,
meaning that she's saying that what her illness is
by gossiping I
caused it.
My whatever.
Yeah, you're basically being like punished, an eye for an eye type of thing.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna go to him or hope that he'll give me support.
Right.
He doesn't get it. I think it's hard for him to think about it.
Yeah.
So
it's easy. It's easier for people in general to find. By the way, it's not just him. You should just know it's many men, and they don't say it to be hurtful, but it's much easier for someone to find a reason and to kind of like think, oh, that must be the reason. If we fix that, then everything's going to fix itself, because men don't know how to deal with it.
Right, but that was a pretty hurtful thing to say.
But men don't know how to deal with that.
It's kind of like people go to a Shiva house and they're like, oh, how did they die? Or whatever.
Correct. So if they wore a life vest, they wouldn't have drowned. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's easier for people to grapple with something if they have it wouldn't happen to me because I'm not going to do that.
Right.
So he's not doing it, I'm saying he's not doing it from a bad place, but of course it's hurtful for the other person. But you were saying before, which I'd love for you to go back to, because we kind of like moved away from it, but you said that you don't want to do the texting thing is going to be much easier for you, but you're sort of trying to think about doing the benefit of the doubt because it's more advantageous. So why do you think you have to be more advantageous? Why can't you just take it simple for the next couple of months? Why are you putting so much
So what I was thinking she could do the texting thing as the easy thing, and on days she felt stronger, she could do the benefit of the doubt thing. You know what I'm saying? Like mix and match it. You know
that she's doing the texting, meaning she's not giving it enough credit. To her, the texting is like, oh, that's too easy. No, it's not. When you don't like somebody.
And when you're feeling annoyed, and when
you want to text them a bunch of devil emojis and what else is there? Gun emojis, the poo emoji, the poo emoji, whatever. Oh, the gun emoji, the bomb emoji.
Hello.
This
is a ladies talk show.
Hello. Had those thoughts, ladies. Ladies on Instagram and Facebook and teleconference. If you had the thoughts of sending your husband
don't send them. Don't send them. Don't send them to us.
Let us know. Aliza Sugarman, by the way, asked Suzy. Did last month's homework of looking at what he does for you help?
She's
looking what he does?
Yeah, meaning looking at the positive stuff that he's doing. Did that help you see him in a little bit of a better light?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. Because that's because it's important to see that work that you're doing. Yeah. I think that's why your journal idea of writing the positive things that he does, even every day, if she pulls out her journal, maybe that should be it.
That could be
like what you said, and she says, oh, today he called me on his own, or today he brought me a cup of water.
We got it.
Oh,
Okay,
we got it.
here's what it is.
I think we figured it out.
We figured it out. So you're going to have, your homework is in 3 parts. The least of which is at least once a day to write something he did nice.
Right.
Okay? Or something you appreciate about him, even if he said something mean to you that day. If that day he said, it's because you gossip and that's why this thing happened to you. If he says something like that, say, he said it in a sweet tone. Oh, no. not, something still, maybe on that day you're forgiven, you're got free of homework that day. But second thing is, if that, that's one aspect. If you're feeling a little bit better, send him a text. That's probably going to be the most thing. The trade-off between those two, equally hard-ish. And then if you're feeling particularly strengthened that day, give him the benefit of the doubt. When he does something, or you're thinking, like, in other words, this thing that he said to you that, it's because you gossip. So that could be very powerfully wounding and whatever. And the way Sarit put it was, that's just him trying to be defensive about, it couldn't happen to me because I don't gossip. It's kind of a self-preservation thing.
Does.
Yeah, I know. But I promise it's like those people that I've seen where you tell them someone died and they start to laugh. And you get so upset, what's wrong with you? But they're laughing because it's literally their defense their mechanism. They don't know how to deal with it.
So
they
many
say
weird things.
I've
been there's a whole articles written about when people go to visit a mourner and the stupidest
things are
they
said,
say.
or when someone loses a child and people say the dumbest things because they don't know how to deal with it. So it just becomes.
So this is part of giving the benefit of the doubt. So should the people change? Yes. Should they read articles and then learn what right to say? Yes. Should they be better communicators and less hurtful? Yes. All of that stuff's true. Doesn't help us a whole lot. But how we handle that, the attitude we have towards it, and giving the benefit of the doubt of it, and saying, that wasn't the nicest thing, but they didn't mean it from a malicious place. They meant it from a self-preservation place. They haven't reached their shlemus, their perfection yet, and hopefully over the years they'll get better and they won't be as harsh and mean at saying things or like that. So, giving the benefit of the doubt, that will be your sort of ultimate thing that you'll try to do. But you're starting with just the emojis, just the notebook, and that's going to be.
And by the way, Rachel, Golden Path Organizing loved our thought that we were very funny with the bombs and guns and all the other emojis that we would be sending our husbands.
I know. We need to clean those up a little
Leah's
bit.
gonna be like, Sarit, you're on a marriage show. You can't send bombs.
Before you go off, Suzy, I just want to tell you that all of us are thinking about you. All of our prayers are with you for medical, for your marriage, that we're your cheerleading squad beside you to keep your marriage together, to keep your health together, and that this should have happy endings. And we'll circle back with Suzy in a few months or whenever it is. No pressure from our end, but we want to have you back on the show to see how things went medically, how things went with your marriage, and if even in that notebook, maybe write down some of the things you're proud of that you did, the actions you took over the next many months that you took that were hard for you, that to achieve closeness in your marriage that we can all gain strength from. You're gonna, you'll report it back to us, and we'll say, "Wow, you were in the middle of this therapy and that thing and whatever, and your husband said this, and that's how you reacted. And wow, if she can do that with her circumstances, maybe I can bump my game up a little bit." Okay, this is great. Any final questions? That's it for the day. Okay, this is.
I just want to say that you're really inspiring, and that
to Suzy. This is to Suzy.
Yeah.
Although I'll take it from me also.
Yeah, you're also.
At first I thought you were talking to me.
You're also very inspiring too.
No,
both of you.
What are you going to say?
But
Suzy?
so I just want to say I really appreciate you coming on the show and being
sharing.
so open and vulnerable and open to trying these new things, and change is really hard, especially after so many years.
Yeah. Very inspiring, Suzy. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being here. This is Leah Richeimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time.